I'm starting so early. Sorry about that. I plan to start at 5, but traffic and the sun and the sky were all cooperating early today, so I'm starting early, but this will be a long walk, so starting early is a good thing. We're on the corner of 9th Street Northwest in Washington, D.C. And there's a current exhibit displaying all of the pages of the United States Constitution, including the transmittal page. So you can come here to the National Archives and see the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and the Constitution. But you usually can't see the administrivia that went along with it. And so now that that 5th page has been added, the transmittal page is now viewable here for a short time. So if you're in Washington, D.C., always check out the National Archives. Now, the National Archives is part of the United States government. The Smithsonian buildings all around, as well as many other museums, are free. Free. Hi, AWOL. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining. Now, I'm completely doused in sunblock and bug spray tonight, so we should be good. You never know with the bugs. But it is such a magnificent sunny day today. We've had so much rain for a few days. For a few days we had rain. But we've been unusually, I should say, blessed with really bright blue skies recently. So that's a good thing. We're just going to take a pretty straight shot today. From here, I am going to walk north. This is Constitution and 9th Street. I'm going to walk around the National Archives and then walk down Pennsylvania Avenue to the west. And we'll see all the amazing buildings along the way. And unfortunately, hi Sebastian, nice to see you. Unfortunately, I'm seeing not so good cell signal right now. Hopefully that will resolve itself in a second. If for some reason the stream drops, I'll just restart. Hey Pete, nice to see you. Hey Space Nut, glad you're here. Wow, did we get a beautiful evening this evening. For sure. I'm gonna take a little walk. Ooh, the traffic. I'm gonna take a little walk down Pennsylvania Avenue once it's safe to cross. Hope everybody else is having beautiful weather as we're having here. Now, a couple of weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago, we got to go in here in the National Sculpture Gardens, so we won't be going inside. Check out my earlier stream for that one. But today we're gonna head north and west. And what you're seeing here is the National Archives. Always a good visit to the National Archives to take a peek at those documents. Now, in the rotunda, in the display area, is where you can see the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, other important documents. But this is also where you might need to come if you're doing family history research. Don't show up without doing research first to make sure your documents are here. There are many locations of the National Archives across the country. You want to make sure you go to the one that has the document you're looking for. No, we're in the United States. We're in Washington, D.C. This is our National Archives building. I've had to come here to get pension files from the Civil War pensions. There's also a huge archives facility not too far from here in College Park, Maryland. And then there are other archives facilities across the country. Always check online first to find out where your document is. And it is possible that the Army of Citizen Archivists has already digitized the record that you're looking for. Both the National Archives and the Library of Congress have really robust catalogs of documents, many of which have been digitized, tagged, indexed, and cataloged so that you can find them online. And you don't have to come here in person. So check it out before you visit. But if you're here in Washington, D.C., definitely visit. Hope everyone is having a beautiful, hello, black blue tick, hound dog, pit bull, blue tick, hound. Great name. Great name. Throughout Washington, D.C., you will have a variety of food trucks to select from if you're daring enough. I neither recommend nor reject them because I've been known to visit a food truck myself. Every once in a while, everyone needs a death dog. Sometimes they just taste so good. I wouldn't do the ice cream on those though. They're not real ice cream. They're all that fake soft serve stuff. Now we have music, so I'm gonna have to just talk and babble until we can cross this street because someone's, oh good, they turned the music off. Good stuff. So we're looking down Constitution Avenue right now. And the buildings you can see ahead of you, a lot of the kind of, let's say, whoop, I'm gonna move away from the curb. A lot of your larger cabinet agencies, so the Department of Justice, Department of Commerce, a couple of other ones down this street, all in that kind of similar style, concrete, stone, terracotta roofs. Slightly boring in this part of the city. It's great architecture, but there's not a mix of architectural styles here. Kind of in the core of the cabinet buildings here. And we'll make our way, we're making our way up to Pennsylvania Avenue from Constitution. The National Mall, kind of the center of Washington, D.C., is bounded by, on the north, by Constitution Avenue, and on the south by Independence Avenue. Those are the main streets. And then there are smaller drives that parallel those streets. Madison and Jefferson drives, that's where you need to park. That's where you can always find parking. That's where I'm parked right now. There's always parking there. Don't park in the garages. Unless you're gonna be at one location for more than 3 or 4 hours, avoid the garages. They cost way too much. Hello, Sabir. On this corner of Pennsylvania Avenue and 7th Street is the Archives Navy Memorial Metro stop, where you can access, get this, the Archives and the Navy Memorial and everything in this area. And I've already been bitten by a bug. I don't even know why I bother with bug spray. I swear to goodness, I don't know why I bother. Washington, D.C. is, was, and always will be built on a swamp. There's always mosquitoes. So looking here at this beautiful bit of architecture here, 7th Street is one of my favorite streets to walk around and enjoy some 1800s and early 1900s architecture like this building here. I don't know what this one is called, to do some research. If we were to continue, and we'll walk up here, if we were to continue down Pennsylvania Avenue going to the right, we would end up at the US Capitol. But we're gonna go to the left, to the west. If we were to keep going this way, we would meet the Embassy of Canada. Great big huge Embassy of Canada. As it should be. All right, when are we going to be able to cross? And then this building here, the insurance company building with that beautiful gold dome, that's one of my favorites. I've made a few videos featuring that building, and there are a few others that are like it. They always tend to be insurance buildings. Brick buildings with a gold leaf dome or a cupola on the top. Hello, Yuru Ital. Nice to see you. Very nice to see you. All right, let's get the light. Come on.
We didn't get to be in the church with him.
Not yet. Okay, now we can cross. Always best to cross with the light. Always, always, always. Don't try dodging Washington, D.C. The bus drivers and the cyclists will just, I won't say they'll mow you down, but, you know, it's kind of your own fault if you jump out in front of one. This is the memorial to General Winfield Scott Hancock. And this is Navy Memorial Plaza. Hey Daly, great to see you. We've got a beautiful sunny evening here in Washington, D.C. And there you can see that, I guess I'll say iconic Metro sign. One of the only redeeming features of the Metro system in Washington, D.C. are these signs. I like them. The stations are so boring, and you've heard me talk about them, and I visited a few on some videos. This isn't like Paris or London, where you get beautiful architecture around the metro stations. You don't here. And here's one right here. Just escalators going underground. Most of our metro stations, this is what you get. And it's because our metro system was not, it was built in the 1970s. So it wasn't built around, you know, purpose-built iconic architecture of the 1940s. Didn't happen. The metro stations had to be incorporated in the 70s when the buildings were already built. So for most of them, it's a stairway or an escalator down, and that's it. No beautiful station building. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. This is the United States Navy Memorial. And it is lovely. We'll go on the other side so I'm not shooting into the sun. But on the plaza is the map of the world. Around the plaza are sculptures memorializing specific battles and wars. And then this sculpture of the lone sailor. Many veterans come here and get their picture taken here. My dad got his picture taken here. So this is the lone sailor. This is Washington, D.C. Taylor, nice to see you. Washington, yep. And then over here in this building is the Memorial Visitor Center. It has a great big huge database of ships and sailors and battles and lots of information about those who served in the Navy. So check it out when you're here in Washington, D.C. Let's move so I'm not shooting into the sun. Okay, shade. Shade. Little bit of a breeze today to catch some of those flags. And then the back view of the United States Archives. I think we've been here 3 or 4 times, but this is the first time the fountain was on while we were here. I know we've been here in the winter, and I think even more recently when I was here, the fountain was not on. So this is the first time we've got the fountain. Hi, Ben. Great to see you. Thank you for joining. We are at the Navy Memorial in Washington, D.C. And we've got water in the fountain for a change, which is nice. And that's the back of the United States Archives. Get a nice view of the flags. It is a little bit warm today. That's quite refreshing. It is hot here today. It's in the high 80s. So for September, it's quite hot. And I put my sunblock on today. So as you can see, blue skies, sunny evening. All right, from the Navy Memorial, we're walking west on Pennsylvania Avenue. And we'll check out some of the architecture. I did plan to stream a little later, but since I got here early, I thought I'd get started early. This might be a long one today. We targeted some brutalist architecture down at L'Enfant Plaza and some other places. We've passed this one from other angles. This is the good old FBI building, or the former FBI building, I should say. Good old, ugly old FBI building. I'm gonna walk a little fast here. Across the street. Yeah. Not a favorite. Definitely not a favorite. The old J. Edgar Hoover building. Historic, for sure. Iconic, yeah. Ugly as sin, for sure. Utilitarian, yeah. An eyesore, yep. Especially with that overhang back there. There's no rhyme or reason to this building. It's a brutalist mess. We appreciate the FBI, we certainly do. The taste of our leaders in architectural styles for this building leaves something to be desired. 60s, I don't know. I have to look this up. I'm gonna guess, yeah. Late 50s, early 60s. What a mess. I mean, the brutalist architecture down on L'Enfant Plaza seems to have a plan. You know, there's some symmetry to it. There's some interest to it. It blends in with some of the other buildings. It actually highlights kind of the L'Enfant Plaza is raised up over the train tracks. Kind of highlights that platform. This, not so good. Not so good. Like the trees. I mean, you know, we've got green space here. That's nice. Got the planters more so for protection. After the Oklahoma City bombing in 1994, most of the federal buildings here installed hardening around the buildings. And what started out as ugly bollards and barriers turned into planters for the most part to prevent bad things from happening. I'll just leave it there. Hey, Johnny, nice to see you. What country is this? This is the United States of America, if you haven't noticed the flags. This is the FBI headquarters building. Good old J. Edgar Hoover building. Lovingly mocked for its terrible architecture. I haven't seen the actual final design for the, quote, new headquarters building. I have to check that out. Why are we putting 1,000 flags on our houses? We like to put flags on our houses. Proud of that flag. And it's still there, which is awesome. We just celebrated Defenders Day in Baltimore last weekend. The Battle of Baltimore, the writing of the national anthem, all that good stuff. Lots of reasons to celebrate. Now, try to avoid shooting into the sun as we get up here to the Waldorf Astoria Hotel, which is in the former post office pavilion. And there's still sun, but that's it. But hang on, we'll get to a better place in a second. Crossing 10th Street when we get the chance. Down there, the museum, the Natural History Museum. That's the one you go to see the dinosaurs and the rocks and minerals and the Hope Diamond and all those awesome displays. Hi, Taylor. Yes, I am. I do walk through Baltimore every now and then. Sometimes Philadelphia and other cities around the world, wherever I happen to be. But I work in and around Washington, D.C., so I'm here most often, especially on a sunny day. Now this says Cafe Fiorello, established 1849. Something's not right there. I don't think so. I don't think it was Cafe Fiorello. Maybe it was, and then it turned into something else, and now they've taken the name back. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that cafe has not been there since 1849. Someone's being interviewed over here for some reason. All right, now that we're in the shade, we can get a picture of the Waldorf. Hey, Johnny, you know, I need to get back to Denver. It's been a really long time since I've been in Denver. Way long time. Need to get back to Denver. Need to get back to Boston. Lots to do in Boston. All right, before the sun peeks out again on the other side of that tower, try to sneak up. I bet that's what they're trying to film as well. Get a good shot of the Waldorf Astoria. But that's the beautiful Waldorf Astoria. As we continue to walk west, I'll look backward on it and we'll get a better view of it. I'm just walking right into the sun right now. Now this has changed hands multiple times. This one here called Central. Michel Richard. I swear I think it was called something else. Kind of going for that almost a London tube underground roundel going there. And the Central Line is red in London. And here the red line, well, we just call them by their colors. They don't actually have names. So there is a red line here in DC as well. Oh, how could we ramble in 105 degrees? I forget where it was. It was not too long ago. When I got back in my car, it was 103. And I had no idea because it wasn't too humid. Here, when it's humid, it gets really miserable. All right. Now this, Fogo de Chão. I like this building. I don't know what this was historically. This is on the corner of Pennsylvania and 11th Street, but I like this building. I do. It's got that bank to it. Oh, it's the Evening Star. So it's one of the former historic newspapers in Washington, D.C. So that's what this is, the Evening Star building. I can't get any farther away because I'll be in the street. That's a good one. Oh, we like that one. Founded in 1852. Nice. There's one of those fake old cars. That's relatively new. These fake old car tours. And then here's another view of the Waldorf. But we're going to get on the other side and get the sun on the building because this view doesn't really do it justice at all. Only generals should have been president. You know, there's something to say for that. My two favorite presidents are very underrated presidents. Teddy Roosevelt is my number one, and Ulysses S. Grant is my number two. Because they got stuff done. They were doers. They were totally doers. Nope, not yet. Can't cross yet. And then this restaurant here, Elephant and Castle, that's definitely a British reference. It's an area of London, which I always find funny. Elephant and Castle. That's just funny. Makes me laugh. I could be a good president. No, you know what? Okay, in my high school yearbook, I was voted the most likely to be the first female president. Not gonna lie. Nothing that I ever aspired to whatsoever. Be a tour guide, park ranger. Wouldn't want the headaches. All right, still waiting for the light. I get one more shot of this beautiful hotel. And now we can cross. I got chill vibes. I appreciate that. I don't know if my family believe that. I think they think I'm a little bit, I'm an over planner. I like my checklists and my, what do you call these things? Clipboards. I like my clipboards and my checklists. Like I will go home and I will write down everything I saw and all the photos I took. Because before I started this live stream, I had my big girl camera out and I was taking photos. And And I'll go home and I'll write it all down in a list, but then I will not go back to the photos and organize them or label them or index them. I've got to get better at that. I have over 1,000 photos and videos from my trip to London last year, which was almost a year ago. And I still keep finding photos I forgot about. Still posting them to my YouTube. Posted a short yesterday from somewhere in London. I think I did that today too. Folks were like, oh, you're in London. Nope, not. It's from last year. It's an 11-month-old photo. Just haven't posted it yet. So we are continuing walking west on Pennsylvania Avenue. And this is Freedom Plaza here. And up this street, 13th Street, is the theater district. Part of the theater district. Oh, that guy almost saw that. But on my theater, I think that's the day, it was like 103. When I did the walk, when I visited, I think 6 historic theaters around Washington, D.C. We started up on 7th and E Street and worked our way down to here, the Warner Theater building. This is always worth a look. One of my favorites. This building is magnificent. So much ornamentation. It's a smaller theater. I think I've seen like live shows here. Like one-man shows kind of thing. I would be overqualified. You are too kind, Taylor. You are too kind. But this is certainly something we should take time and admire. And it's the perfect time of the evening too, to get that golden hour sun on this beautiful facade. And then here's the National Theater. And Freedom Plaza, a place for people to converge and at times protest and do their things, all those things that we do here. Statue here of Kazimierz Pulaski, Polish general who helped us secure our independence during the War of Independence. Thank you, General Pulaski. There's another big monument to him in Patton Park in Baltimore. Big Polish community in Baltimore. So up here on the plaza, this is not just a big empty plaza. Oh, and the sun is right in my face. Not just a big empty plaza. The plan of Washington, D.C. is laid out in the granite here. So let's see if I can find something worth looking at. So here would be the Capitol building. Here is the plan of the Capitol building in the stone. Here in this plaza. So you can see all the main streets are in the white marble. Some of the main buildings, the design is laid out on the plaza. And if I look this way, I get the beautiful view of that Waldorf Astoria and the Capitol building straight down Pennsylvania Avenue. There's something going on the roof up there. The International Trade Center. It's the Ronald Reagan Center. One of the newer and more recently renovated buildings. That's a great view. So from there you're getting a view of the Capitol this way and the White House just down this way on Pennsylvania Avenue. This building here, I'm sorry for the sun. This building here, that's one of the DC government buildings for Washington, DC. And there's a view of the National Theater across the plaza. Freedom Plaza is not maintained by the National Park Service. If it were, there would be no skateboarding. But the pigeons, I mean, they're everywhere. Can't control the pigeons. Now, we've been this way before. I've come up 14th Street to visit the White House before. I haven't come from this direction, I don't think, on a stream. There's the Willard Hotel. We visited that when we were looking at historic hotels of Washington. We started at the Willard, made our way to the Mayflower and the Hay Adams on another beautiful evening. The Willard predates the Civil War. It wasn't this current size. It was a few stories shorter. But there are photos of the Willard Hotel predating the Civil War. It's the Willard Hotel where the term lobbyist was created. Folks would wait in the lobby to talk to the president and legislators. They would hang out in the lobby, and they were called lobbyists. I love that hotel. I want to stay in this hotel. It's on my list. Definitely on my list. Yeah, I know the other birds that scare away or eat the pigeons, right? Owls. Owls and hawks, right? Scare them away or eat them, or both. This is the world's most annoying sound. Very important to know when something's backing up. But man, that's an annoying sound. Just across the way here is the World War I Memorial. We'll walk our way through quite respectfully. Head up to the White House and maybe grab a drink. And I'll talk over this music just in case. The World War I Memorial was just recently completed, unfortunately, far more than 100 years after the war ended. The statue to General Pershing, which looks like it's getting a little bit of a cleaning right now, was here. And some of the other parts of the memorial were here. But the beautiful relief sculpture that really, I think, is the focal point was just unveiled last year in 2024. It's a very, very nice memorial. We're coming from the east to the west with the quotation from General Pershing here on this side of the memorial. And the statue of General Pershing here. Getting some work done. And the map of the campaign here. Let's get out of the sun. It is a very clean place. So this park is maintained by the National Park Service, and there are usually plenty of veterans and volunteers around these memorials. And an opportunity to be really, really respectful. Thank you for your service, sir.
Oh, it was an honor to serve.
I really appreciate it. Thank you. So there's an honor flight here today. Honor flights of veterans from many wars travel to Washington, D.C. to visit the World War II, World War I, Korea, and of course the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. Kind of hard to get the relief sculpture in the picture here in the reflecting pool because the sun is right in front of me. So we'll get up really close to it. And I've done other videos with the detail of this sculpture, so I really recommend that you check it out to look at the detail and the history of this sculpture. And I'm not going to get too much closer because I don't want to disturb these folks here. It's a very peaceful place. Quite beautiful. Sad, though, that no survivors of World War I got to see the completed memorial because it was completed in 2024. More than 100 years after the conflict ended. But I hope they would like it. And then all the way to the west is this fountain with an inscription on it, with a quote on it. So I have a video, not a live shot, but a video on this memorial. So check it out on my stream. Oh, and there's a gentleman in uniform. They do play taps here every day at sunset at the lowering of the flag. And I do recommend a visit to this memorial and all the war memorials if you visit Washington, D.C. No, there's no fish in the water, Hassan. No. Not at all. Now we're up to 15th Street. And this is the building that is sometimes confused for the White House. It's not. This is the Treasury Department building. And this is one loud food truck. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna go mute for a second. That was loud. Here's the Hotel Washington, another historic hotel in Washington. This place has a rooftop bar that affords a wonderful view of the White House, a view that most people don't get, which is from the east, looking down on the White House. It's a great view. You also get to view the planes landing at National Airport from the rooftop. Oh, I'm so happy to be in shade right now, and I'm sure you all can see a little better when I'm not shooting into the sun. It's the curse of golden hour. The sun's at a great angle for photos, and it's at a terrible angle for photos. All at the same time. Whoa! There's a hole in the sidewalk. Another reminder, look up and look down. This was the site of the oldest tavern in Washington, D.C. until 1984. It survived from the 1700s until the 1980s when it was removed. So walking north on 15th Street, you can take a right down any of these streets and find nice restaurants, bars, cafes, place to have a quick drink or a nice meal. This here is the Old Ebbitt Grill, a staple in Washington, D.C. For me, overpriced and under-delivers, but that's just me. I prefer the Hamilton. I go there for live music too. But make up your own mind. Don't go by my recommendations. Obviously, in this area, you're paying for the location. And look, here's another one of those historic insurance buildings made of brick with a little gold dome at the top of the cupola. That's a good one. That lady on that bike, wow, because she's going uphill. That's like 6 straight city blocks uphill. More power to her in her dress while she's pedaling.
No, I know, yeah. Like, we've got no other places, it sounds like, to get this shit, so.
Hello, Theater of Pain. Nice to see you. Hi, Bad Kitty. E-bike, it could be, but I could be. I don't know. She looked like she was pedaling. I'll give her credit. I'll definitely give her some credit. Here's a very nice view of that building. Really, really nice. And there's some music playing. Super nice. And they are replacing the trees. There is work being done in front of the White House, so we won't get to be in front of the White House today. We've been here before. It's perfectly fine to walk here when they're not doing work. Ah, it looks like they're doing something with the trees. Thanks for everything you do. Really appreciate you. Oh yeah, there's something going on. Ah, bummer. Won't get down Pennsylvania Avenue today to the White House, but we will appreciate the Milken Center building here. And we will definitely, whoops, so sorry. That's blocking traffic for the architecture. We will take one more look here at this beautiful building in the sun. Bummer. No White House today. And you know what? Because he's away, he's in Great Britain right now visiting with King Charles and the British government. They usually do work when the president's away. So there's a lot of big boxes and crates up there. They're doing something to the road in front of the White House. So we won't be able to access the front of the White House today, unfortunately. All right. Well, let's continue up 15th Street then. Let's just see what we see. We got some shade. That's a good thing. Oh, I could look at this one all day. Really nice. Yeah, bluegill. Yeah, I know you can pedal an e-bike. I know. I was giving her credit. She looked like she was working hard. Uphill too. Totally uphill. Awesome. All right, we're gonna head up 15th Street. Checking out some of the oldest and best preserved buildings in Washington, D.C. A lot of tourists here today. Notice there aren't any kids. They're all back in school. This is when the old folks do their traveling. That's a good one too. Okay, so this one is the Folger, Nolan, Fleming, Douglas building. Okay. Members of the New York Stock Exchange. Who knew? I don't know who Folger, Nolan, Fleming, and Douglas are or were, but I admire the architecture. Now, I don't think I've come up. Now, this is why we wander. I don't think I've come up 15th Street like this before. Whoa, okay, hang on. Okay, I was busy looking at this one, this building, and then I turned around and see these mosaics over the doors of this building. The New America building. Don't know what it is, but check that out. Mosaics above the transom, above the windows up there. Interesting, kind of sort of Art Deco-y look to it. Wow. This is why we won't. Try again. This is why we wander. Okay, this is Ned's Club. All right, this is Ned's Club. Whoever Ned is, he's got some great digs here. Fantastic. But this is what caught my eye. This one here, look at this narrow, beautiful 729 15th Street with the brass, the big windows, the motifs above the windows. Really narrow little building here. And then the one next to it, that Folger Nolan Fleming Douglas building. I don't know if this one is part of it, but obviously a modern construction above it that blends the two together. Love it. Hey Abe, have a good stream today. Thanks for dropping by. Tell Jack I said hi. Okay, Union Trust. Allegedly the best happy hour in DC. Well, maybe we'll have to check that out. And here's another look back at the mosaic work on this building here. All right, we will have to examine that. Do a little research on that beautiful architecture. Admiring some, you know, it's this kind of neoclassical, leans into Beaux-Arts, leans into Edwardian. That's really typical Baltimore and Philadelphia, right? This work around the windows, the arched windows and doorways, these big, huge lampposts, usually brass, with some ironwork ornamentally, leaning heavily into the Beaux-Arts world. The Woodward building. Okay, Woodward and Lothrop is down the street. This is the Woodward building. All right. I mean, obviously this is a huge city. And obviously for the rest of my life, I will be walking through block by block by block and admiring all the architecture. But it is amazing that I've lived and worked here for way over 20 years, way over 30 years. And every day I see something new. Every single day I see something new that I hadn't seen before. And here's another one. Highly ornamented. Check that masterpiece out. Hi, Aunt Ticky Witty. This is Washington, D.C. This is Washington, D.C. We are north of Pennsylvania Avenue. We're on H Street right now. H and 15th. Just admiring architecture like this one right here. Too cool. Really, really amazing. We were aiming to walk in front of the White House, but they do have construction going on Pennsylvania Avenue, and I didn't want to walk around the other side. It would take a little too long to walk around the other side, so sorry. We walked west from the National Archives all the way down here. Hi, Yumi. Yumi121. This is Washington, D.C. This is the kind of the heart of the business district here, and a great place to scope out architecture. And I have been avoiding the metro stations. There's nothing to see at these metro stations. It's not like Paris or London. The metro system here was built in the 1970s when all the buildings were already built. So the metros just had to go in the basements of buildings. There are no beautiful station buildings. There are very few entrances that are worth any note at all. Yes, the Hamilton Hotel. Hi, BKA 2012. So there's the Hamilton Hotel and then the Hamilton Club, and they are both nearby. The Hamilton Hotel is 2 blocks south, and the Hamilton Club is right around the corner. And if I weren't so messy and sweaty right now, that's where I would go for my drink. But I don't think they'd let me in. Because I'm a mess right now. But I am in the shade. Very grateful to be in the shade. Oh, and take one more look, if this car would move, at the entrance to this building. It says the Southern Building. Incredible ornamentation. Hi, Colonial Designs for you. I am in Washington, D.C. I'm on H Street, just a block north of the White House, between 14th and 15th Street. And although I'm here all the time, this is one path I had not taken before. And sometimes, even though I've seen the same buildings, obviously they look differently from different directions and different angles. But we've always got to watch the sidewalk. Look up and look down when you're filming. There's been such great care taken to preserve so much of the architecture around Washington, D.C. from all different periods of history. From as early back as, okay, I know this isn't a long time ago for some of you European friends, but from the 1700s all the way till today. 1765, the oldest home in Washington, D.C., that's in Georgetown. We've visited that before. There are a few other structures that date from the late 1700s. A good deal of buildings from the mid to late 1800s, early 1900s. And here's another beauty right here. This is the corner of, this is 14th and H Streets, Northwest. With the sunlight in absolutely the perfect position. How close can I get to the White House? If you check out my prior streams, I'm right there. I'm right at the Pennsylvania Avenue gate is really close. The South Gate is not as close, but you can get right there. Except today I'm sorry, there's music. I'm gonna have to turn. They're doing some kind of reconstruction on the street, and I can't get in on this side, and I didn't feel like walking around the other side of the White House, so I do apologize. I never show J Street. There is no J Street. Holocron, you're like, you're like my helper. There is no J Street in Washington, D.C. It's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, and no J Street. And there's a myth as to why there's no J Street, that the person who helped design the city did not like John Jay, who was the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court at the time. So there's no J Street. And I'm really hoping this car moves soon so I can stop just babbling over the music. I've been successful with all of my copyright claims except one. And I'm really mad that I had to pull a video down because of music at a museum. It wasn't even someone playing a radio. It was the music playing at an exhibit at the museum. And I challenged it, and they said if you challenge it again and you lose, like, you get in trouble. So I didn't want to get an actual strike, so I took the video down. So now I'm just extra cautious. Well, thank you, BKA 2012. I appreciate you joining me. This is a good way to avoid traffic. If I were to leave now or an hour ago when I started, I would just be stop and go, stop and go, stop and go. So I walk around, I get my steps in, and I avoid traffic. And I get to chat with all of you, so that's a good thing. Now we're on New York Avenue, which is also US Route 50. And here's another magnificent structure. Oh, it's 5:15. Okay. Bells are going 5:15. This one's quite beautiful. No, the university is George Washington University. Good question. BKA. It's George Washington University. It's not too far from here. I would have to continue on Pennsylvania Avenue on the other side of the White House, so go this way, for about a mile, and I'd be at George Washington University. There's also Georgetown University, which is in Georgetown. And across the river in Virginia, there's George Mason. There's all the Georges. There's George Washington, Georgetown, and George Mason, all close by here. There's no George Bush University yet. Maybe there will be. Now here's another beauty. I think this is the, I'm gonna do it, I do it wrong every time. I think this building, I'm gonna say it's the Colorado, right? But then I'm gonna find out it's like the North Dakota or something. I think this is called the Colorado building. Get it wrong every time though. I'll get to the corner and get a better view. Turn right on J Street. Yeah. It's like sending someone on a snipe hunt. Tell them to go to J Street in Washington. A bank is a bank. When we do our Main Street bingo tours, we generally find that the historic bank buildings are always banks. And this was the former Commercial National Bank. And now it's the Commercial National Bank building, and there is a little bank in it. Because a bank is a bank and should always be a bank. Yeah, Holocron. I'm going to say it's the Colorado building. Watch, I'll find out it's like the Minnesota building or something. Every time I guess wrong. I don't know, there's like this mental block in my head. Now, Hamilton's down here, and then we're going to take a super special detour. This is G Street. Now, that was a bank, obviously. And you can kind of see some letters at the top, but I really can't read what it said. Something bank of something. But this is La Grande Boucherie currently. But we're gonna walk down one more block. This is G Street. We're gonna go to F Street. And F Street, a few blocks to the east, was the historic and former home, until very recently, of Farney's Pens. If you're like me and you like a fountain pen, Farney's is like the hub for elegant fountain pens. Now, they recently closed up their shop down by 13th Street. They're going to return to their historic shop behind the Willard Hotel. So we're going to go to that door. And we're not stalking or anything, but we want to see when it's going to be open. And here's a really nice view of La Grande Boucherie. That was a bank. Oh, that was Thank you, Holocron. Got it right that time. The Colorado building. Now, this is the Hamilton restaurant. This is not the Hamilton Hotel, which is a few blocks down. But this is where you want to come for your live music. Plugging my favorite band, my house band, Carbon Leaf. I've also seen Boathouse Row here for some yacht rock. It's a really nice venue here. The Hamilton. Eat, drink, listen. At the Hamilton. And a beautiful architectural example right across the street. Now, I'm going to say this is relatively new construction, like, you know, late 20th century, but has certainly honored the historic architecture in the area. All right, every time I walk by here, I tell everyone that this hole is still here. This hole is still here. I've fallen in that hole before, months and months and months and months ago. It's still there. A bank is a bank and a hole is a hole. All right, let's see if there's a sign on the new Farney's door. So this is the back of the Willard Hotel. We were around the front not too long ago. This is where all the fancy shops are for the fancy people who can afford to stay at the Willard. That's the club entrance to the Hamilton right there. So, and it's also a very, very nice hotel. Restaurant. Okay, here we go. Here's the door. Here's the Farney's door. Opening in 2025. Well, it's still 2025. We do look forward to seeing Farney's here. Fountain pen heaven here. Awesome. For those who like fountain pens. I love fountain pens. If Daryl were watching, I haven't seen Daryl in a long time. There's cones for Daryl. I want to know where's Daryl? It's been a few weeks. He hasn't been in film club either. Oh, film club this week. So I hope everyone has seen the new Downton Abbey film. Now, I didn't twist James's arm for this at all. He's a big Downton fan. Jay is not able to join us for film club on Saturday. So James and I decided we wanted to do a Downton retrospective and a Downton review. So if you care to join us on Stasis Geeks channel on Saturday, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. UK British Summertime. I hope the clocks haven't changed yet. Someone will tell me if the clocks change. Please do join us for a lively chat about Downton Abbey. Hey, Bluegill. Yes, fountain pens are awesome. Once you write with a fountain pen, you will never want a ballpoint again. Like, once you write with a good one. So please do join us for Film Club. We have a really good time chatting about films. Now we're working our way east on F Street, getting almost back to where we started today. It's been a long one. This is more than 2 miles today. This is where it's kind of the Fleet Street of Washington, D.C. Several of the newspaper buildings were here. The Sun building, which was the Baltimore Sun, had a Washington, D.C. bureau here. And this is the National Press building, but we'll get to a better angle so that I can show you that. This is the area where many of the newspapers had their outlets. Whoa! These wobbly blocks. And where I showed you where Farney's will soon be, this is where Farney's was, in the Sun Building. And for those who may have visited around Washington, D.C., you may have seen a great big green. A great big green fountain pen hung over the door. Well, that's gone now. I'll get a better view of it over here. That's gone now. But we can still admire the architecture of this beautiful building with the sunburst above the door. And then at the tippy top, if you can see, it says the Sun Building. If I'm remembering, this is 1882, maybe? Might be wrong on that. That is certainly one to admire. And then, I like these three. This Harrison Ewing building, and then where we currently have District Taco, this Art Deco masterpiece. Look at the metalwork around the doors and windows. I mean, a District Taco never looked so good. Check that out. I'll be very still. And you can see, hopefully, some of the detail on the facade of this building. Unbelievable. Yes, I know I'm in the street. Just go around me. I'm admiring architecture. Drive around. Drive around. This is just a great block. It's a great block. And then on this corner building, while this is relatively new, you can see the little lanterns or lamps certainly honor the Art Deco style next door in that District Taco building. Okay, this guy is like not gonna let me stand in the street, which I shouldn't be standing in the street. I agree, I shouldn't be standing in the street. But sometimes you just want to admire. This is a beautiful block right here. Hey, Highlander. Great to see you. Hi, Edie. Yeah, sometimes you do have to write fast with a fountain pen. It depends on the ink. I have some ink that dries really fast, but then it dries up the pen. That's the fun about fountain pens is, so you find a pen you love and you find an ink you love, but then you find another color of ink. So you need to buy another pen. And then you need to buy more ink. And then you need to buy another pen. It never ends. Because you never want to take out the good ink, but you want to keep trying new ink. They know how to get you. They know how to rope you in. Now this one here, Metro Center is here on the other side of this building. And the original building is only the first 4 floors of this building. So kind of see up to that first roof line, 4 floors up. And then the rest of this building was built much later. The remaining floors were built much later. And we're back to the Warner Theater, which we saw when we were on the other side of Freedom Plaza. This is 13th Street, Northwest Washington, D.C. probably, I'm going to say, I have no data to back this up. This is probably where the tallest buildings are in DC. DC has a height restriction. Buildings can't be taller than the old post office tower building. But this area to me just always feels like these buildings are taller. Most buildings are a little bit shorter than here. DC also has a lot of green space, a lot of parks, and as you can see, the streets are quite wide. We don't typically have those narrow little streets. And so the height restrictions on the buildings, plus the green space, plus the wide streets, means that DC is a quiet city. And you can hear it's really not loud. That's why when someone does drive by with music blaring, it's pretty evident on the stream because the traffic just isn't loud. Retail space available in this one. So a few blocks down from where I said the historic newspapers were, kind of the Fleet Street area, this is where we start to get into the historic department store arena area down here, as well as many historic hotels. Today, really good restaurants. Ocean Air is a really good restaurant, by the way. Really good restaurants in this area. And lots of history. And here's another one of those, I'll call it a dreadful metro station. It's just in the basement of the building. That's it. Nothing beautiful or interesting. It is a character of its own. I get it. I totally get it. I don't want to diss the DC Metro. I've used it most of my life. But this is it. I like, in London, I like visiting all the different stations and, you know, appreciating the character of all the stations. Here, it's these kiosks. This is kind of the only thing I enjoy about the metros. Could run around and take pictures of all the kiosks and appreciate those. Metro Center is a hub. The red, blue, orange, and silver lines crisscross here at Metro Center. And then Gallery Place is the other hub where the green and yellow lines also cross. Another Art Deco memorial over here. Why the restriction? You know, I don't know historically why, but I'm glad. I'm really glad. It's not a metropolis, you know, it's meant to do the business of the nation. Whoa, another hole in the side. Gosh, these holes in the sidewalk. Meant to do the business of the nation, not a commercial center. I feel like there are so many other, you know, close by cities that don't have that issue. Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York. They can build bigger bigger buildings there. Now I mentioned we were coming into department store land. And I mentioned we had seen the Woodward building. This is the historic Woodward and Lothrop's department store building. No longer a department store. But this is on the National Register of Historic Places. This is magnificent. It was still open when I was a kid. I had gone shopping here before all the Woodies closed. And now it is a number of businesses here. There's an H&M, How dreadful. There's an H&M over there. But we'll just appreciate this one for a minute. Oh, the smell of fresh... No, I don't want the smell of fresh cut grass. That's why I'm sniffling. That is why we sniffle. We're on 11th Street now, and we will be approaching a beautifully preserved block of shops. And I have documented most of the buildings on this block in previous videos, but we'll take a look now. We'll take a look a little bit closer at the Woody's building in just a second. Yeah, I think a good number of them probably are. I mean, a lot of businesses did not come back after COVID. Looks like a Barnes & Noble will be coming here. That's awesome. But here's the beautiful awning in front of the historic Woodward and Lothrop building. In just a minute, you're going to get to see DC's finest coming down the street. Oh, Holocron, thank you for the citation. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's loud. I love a good fire truck. And a rum and coke sounds awesome, by the way, Bluegill. Rum and coke sounds really good right now. I have to figure out where I'm going to stop. Take a little break. Now this is the block I was mentioning with those beautifully preserved shops. This one right here. That's a good one. And there's Ford's Theater, where President Lincoln was assassinated. And across the way where he died, or where he was shot, and across the way he died. We've done that walk before, though. Won't be doing that today. But this little intersection here at F Street and 10th Street, lots of great architecture to check out here. Okay, Highlander. Too soon, man, too soon. On both sides of this street, you have some really good examples. Hello, SWW, SWW. Yes, Washington, D.C. We are appreciating some of the retail architecture, preserving some historic architecture. This is the Atlantic Building. I like this one. This one, this is a bit of a farce here. While this looks historic, this front is not the historic front of this beautiful building. This was remade, I'm not sure when, but I have the picture of the original building here, the original facade, which was just a glass storefront. Didn't have all this ornamentation. Don't know when that was added, but it's not original. It might be old, but it's not original to this building. And then across the way, we have Thomas E. Wagner's real estate brokerage building next to an Equitable bank building, the bank building dating from 1879. And then this National Union building over here. Whoops. But we're going to take a good look at this Equitable bank building and this real estate auctioneer building here. Whoa, almost recorded an accident there. The Equitable bank building is now Succotash Prime, a restaurant. And this real estate building unfortunately has a beautiful tree in front of it, and we can't get more detail on it from this angle. But I do like this. I love a bank. Now this is not a bank as a bank. This is a bank as a restaurant. But still a beautiful building. Well, I think I've wandered quite a bit today. I know, Sufferin' Succotash. Hiya here, nice to see you. Sufferin' Succotash. We'll head up here to the National Portrait Gallery and the Museum of American Art here on this corner. And I think this is where I will end the stream. Holy moly, I've gone for an hour and a half. How is that even possible? Well, it's a beautiful night, that's why. There's lots to see. We went on an unplanned detour and found some beautiful buildings. And I just want to thank everybody for joining me. This is the Museum of American Art and next door to the National Portrait Gallery. There are events here at these locations in addition to being free. These are some of those free, awesome Smithsonian properties. They do have events, behind the scenes tours, lectures. Check out the Smithsonian website and go to the events tab and check it out. And here's the Warder building where Shake Shack is now. Another row. Obnoxious. Another row of beautiful buildings here on H Street. And drivers just becoming super impatient right now, trying to get home. It's a beautiful night in DC. Thanks everyone for joining me. I hope you have a fantastic evening wherever you are, and do take care.